Hey, what are you doing, YouTube? Welcome back, and thank you for following my series of 0 to 100 playing 2NL 6 max zoom on PokerStars. So as usual, we're gonna go ahead and check our progress from last time. So this is about, I think, playing after 8 sessions based on the videos that I've uploaded. So as you can see from last session, we did run pretty well. If you can see there, the green line basically means our profit won, and the orange line is the show all in EV. Basically, what that means is when we got the money and we're kind of behind, or we're slightly behind or whatnot, and we basically hit our hand by the river. So that's the best way I can explain it. Anyways, so we'll go ahead and start our daily grind. So we'll go ahead and choose 1 cent, 2 cent, no limit. And also I'm just gonna turn off my HUD because we don't really need a HUD when we play micro stakes. So we'll just open that up, and as usual, we're gonna be playing 4 tables. We're gonna be taking notes. And if we do run out of time, so we might cut down to 3 tables so we can talk about specific hands, as well as take notes on certain opponents that we play against, because I think, in my opinion, that's probably a very good idea, like in taking notes, just because you're going to be playing with a bunch of players, a bunch of unknowns. So it's always good to keep tabs. It's always good to have at least some sort of information on your opponents. And this hand, I just wanted to see how this hand will play out on table 1. So table 3, we 3 bets pocket aces versus cutoff. I don't have much information on this guy, so as usual, we're going to be doing a standard c-bet half potish on this flop. And I think I could size it just a little bit bigger, just because it's kind of like semi-wet. There's a spade draw there as well, and I think on a flop like that, he can also call with pocket 8s, pocket 9s, and pocket 10s. So but just as a standard, I think we can do half pot. We can slightly increase it if we have more information on our opponents. So table 2, this guy has, well, he's pretty short and he opens 2x 5-4. I don't like defending that, so we'll just fold it. Maybe if it was at least like 5-4 suited or something, I might just call, just defend. But 5-4 offsuits, I feel like that's just gonna be a lot of check folding on the flop. So table 2, once again, we do have ace jack suited button versus a 4x open. I think this is a pretty reasonable call. I would 3-bet this sometimes versus a 3x open, but I feel like when he 4x's, that's basically telling me that he's quite strong. And if you guys don't know what I mean by 4x, 3x, or 2.5x, I'm just talking about the race sizes. So for example, when going back to this hand, if you can see egg Joa, he opens 4x. So what that really means is he's opening up, he's raising 4 times the big blind, so that's 8. So that's 4 times the big blind. So that's when I say 4x. In some cases, I would say 3x, which means the opponent's opening up 3 times the big blind. And if you guys have any questions with the hands that I'm playing, or if you have any suggestions, if you feel like I've misplayed a hand wrong, definitely write them down in the comment section below. I always check my comments and basically go over the hands once again that you guys mentioned. So Doesn't matter if it's a bad comment about a hand. I really wouldn't care. I'd take that as feedback. Now NLSO, I think 3-bet ace-5 suited is fairly decent. Table 3, we're just gonna bet this fairly aggressively. Okay, we're just gonna take notes. So aggro pre versus blinds. I don't like the size of his 4-bets, so definitely just gonna fold this. So table 4, I'm definitely gonna squeeze ace queen. I feel like this guy's a fish having a half stack. We just want to go heads up against this guy. If this guy re-raises, we're pretty much crushed versus his range. He's opening from under the gun, and we only have ace queen. But oops, I accidentally folded that. I'll definitely call here. That's okay. So this guy calls queen 10, button, reshoves versus 3-bets. Just gonna close our table. Reshoves versus 3-bet squeeze. So it's gonna label him as a fish. I'm still a little bit sick today. Well, actually my sickness has gotten worse, and as you can tell, my voice is just sounding totally different. Not sure what he's value betting here. Does he expect me to fold? I think we can just call. This might be a really fishy call. We're just hero calling, but for that price, I think we're better off getting more information. And basically bluffs. I think it's better off betting the flop there in the turn on his part, but and I think he can also just check back instead of betting, because with jack high, I mean, if I check this flop and turn through, then I don't really, from his part, I can't really see myself value betting. Like, I don't like, if I was in his position, I don't expect my opponent to call with like 9-7 offsuit or something. So it just doesn't make sense him betting. Now dictator basically limp calls under the gun and he pots the flop. He can definitely have a lot of just 8 here or flush draws, but it might be just a little too weak to fold. And he can't really have jack 10 because we do have 2 10s in our hand. I think it's an okay call down. But that's probably the worst card for us. I'll just fold, I guess. I think we're gonna keep barreling here on table 3 with ace king. I don't think he can call with just air, but I think he'll be calling with a lot of jacks. I think we're just gonna check back. A7 definite open under the gun. Pocket 3s, table 1. Pocket jacks, table 4. I'm picking up a couple of hands here. Table 3, we did miss versus 3 players. We do have a backdoor flush draw as well as a backdoor straight draw, but not enough equity to actually be betting. So just gonna check and probably give up if someone bets this flop. So 15 into 44, roughly about 3 to 1. Getting 3 to 1 on a call, so we need about 25%. We only have an open ender, and do we get paid even if we hit straight? That's the question. I don't think so, so just gonna pitch the a7. Plus there's 2 plays behind. If the players behind end up raising, then we'll be in a pretty tough situation, just like what happens now, and almost always we'll be folding with just a straight draw. So let's go check out that hand. So he folded. So table 1, we do have Jack 8 suited. I think this is an okay defend. We're getting the correct odds versus 2 short stacks, so it's okay to see a flop. So we do have top pair table 1. Under the gun, the initial raiser bets. I think it would be a little bit too weak to just fold, so we're gonna go ahead and call. Table 4, we do have jacks. We get called by the button as well as the small blind. And if, yeah, I was gonna say if button bets, I would put his range on some sort of ace, suited ace at least. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fold. Okay, so we do have 2 pair on table 1. Looks like we got lucky on the turn, but they do have short stacks. I prefer betting here than actually check calling. If they do have a hand that beats us, that's okay. I prefer that than actually just start check calling and we get rivered. That's okay though. What's up with all these rivers? We keep getting rivered. I mean, we were behind on the flop, but we sucked out on the turn and then he re-sucked out on the river. That's completely fine though. I think the other guy probably had some sort of queen of hearts, maybe ace of hearts. King 10 versus under the gun open. I think I'll just fold this. His raise size is 3.5x. I'd prefer calling if it was like a 3x open, but 3.5x with king 10 suited. In the long run, I'll just be dumping money. Nine 8 suited versus a short stackish guy. Definitely not calling. Just fold it. Okay, I decided to defend here versus a 50 big blind stack. This table 4, I'll definitely c-bet this with ace high. I don't think he can call much. I mean, he can float with like 2 overs, like say queen jack, king 10. But when he raises us, there's really no reason to just rebluff or whatnot. And that's the same guy that just called queen 10 offsuit on the button and then reshoves. So I mean, like, he can definitely bluff us, but like I said, there's no need to put ourselves in weird situations. We'll just play straightforward. There's no need to rethink or outthink or re-level ourselves. Just play our strong hands fairly strong and our weak hands fairly weak. Okay, so table 4, we do have second pair. It is a fairly wet board, but I prefer betting here. I don't like check calling, just because if we do check call, like, any turn card would be fairly bad for us unless it's like an 8 or a 10 or a heart. But then again, we wouldn't know what to do if we just check call the flop and then, you know, check the turn again. So what's going to happen? Like, we'll have no idea what our opponent's gonna do. So it's better just taking the initiative and just by betting there. King 9 suited, definitely a defend versus 2.5x open. Okay, so it's a jack high dry board, so we're just gonna put pressure on this guy. We do have a backdoor flush draw, and when the 7 hits, once he check calls, I can see him having a 7 here, and he basically leads the turn, so just gonna fold. Okay, king queen off on the button. Definitely gonna 3-bet this versus the cutoff. I mean, I can't call if he was on, like, under the gun, but if he's just in the cutoff, he's 2xing. Definitely gonna raise it up, mostly for value. We're not bluffing there with king queen. Okay, Botana has a 50 big blind stack. We do have queen jack suited. I think this is an okay call. I just don't want to 3-bet and then get shoved on. And And we don't have anything. We do have 2 overs, but we're not even sure if they're that good, so just gonna fold it. Ace 10 off, definitely a 3-bet. And the flop is fairly dry, so I think it favors us more than him. I can see him floating here just once with at least like pocket 7s, pocket 6s. And we're just gonna keep barreling this. I can also see him having ace 9, 9, 8. Once we bet the turn, just double check his stack. He doesn't have much left, so we have to put him in a decision where he's either just gonna shove or fold. And he min raises us, leaving himself like 31 cents behind. We do have top pair, top kicker. I mean, like, he can have 9-8, 9-10 flush draws, but just gonna reshove it. That's completely fine. I should have double checked this guy's stack. I wouldn't be opening with like queen 8 suited if the button is fairly short. Just because if they do decide to shove, then queen 8 suited doesn't really look that good. Okay, jack high dry board. It was a snap raise as well, so I think I'm gonna call once, and if our hand doesn't improve, we're obviously gonna fold. Yeah, just fold it. Just pitch it. So you're just gonna take note. Hold button. Raise flop versus YouTube. Ah, folded queen jack. Sorry, I'm not concentrating too much. Okay, it's gonna see bet this. What should be our bet size here? What can he call with? I think he can call with 8-9 at least. Hero call with 8-9 or at least like 2 pair. So we're gonna try and pot it. What? I think we have to call. And he flopped the straight. This session we've just been running fairly bad, I guess. It's completely fine. We're gonna turn this around. Not gonna give up. Hello? Just gonna refresh that table. I think I'm gonna check back pocket sevens here. I can't see myself value betting. If I do bet, it's more of a bluff in my opinion. Definitely gonna just get it in with ace king versus cutoff. So table 4 decided to call with pocket sevens. I think he could be barreling this flop with 2 overs like king queen, ace king and whatnot. But small blind decides to call. We're just gonna check back here. I think table 2, I'm just gonna bet this. If he doesn't hit this flop, I mean, he's always almost gonna fold. Table 1, I decided to check call the flop with top set. Now I'm just gonna check raise it. Just because on the flop it's super dry, I can't really have any hand that I'm check raising with that's pure air. So when the turn comes, it gives out some sort of flush draw or some sort of a draw, which I can check raise with. And I think he's more inclined to call the turn. I think he's more inclined to call the check raise on the turn than the check raise on the flop. Because on the flop, like 8-4-3 rainbow, it's super dry. If I do check raise, it doesn't really connect with his hand. So well, yeah, he has one of those hands that would definitely go with it. But on a flop like 8-3-4, if I check raise, he's almost always gonna fold anything that doesn't hit this board. Even like ace 5 would definitely fold. So when the turn comes, it basically gives out a couple of draws. I could be bluffing with like a flush draw, 2 overs or whatnot, and he's more inclined to call then. Like basically have a hand that can bluff catch my check raise on the turn. Table 2, I decided to just give up on this. It's a king high board. We do have queen 10, so there's really need to barrel. I think that flop hits his range more than ours. I mean, we can definitely bluff, but on a flop like this, on a flop like 4-5 king with the diamond draw, he's definitely going to float. I mean, he can float with like any pairs like pocket sixes plus, any type of at least like ace 7. He'll definitely float, but you know, I don't think he's gonna fold much on a flop like that. So that's why I decided to just not bet. And plus, we don't have any equity. Like, any turn card is fairly bad for us. So, like I said, might as well just give up on that one. Just gonna label this guy one tabler. On a gut shot, definitely gonna keep barreling this. Unless the opponent gives me the reason not to. Gonna 3-bet ace jack versus a short stack. And gonna c-bet this once and probably just give up, because the reason why I'm c-betting is it puts him in a position where he's thinking that he has to go with his hand or just fold it, because he has a fairly short stack. So if we do get called, we're obviously just gonna give up on the turn. I didn't even double check this guy's stack. Pocket nines versus someone that doesn't have a short stack. He's playing, I think, one table. I mean, he might not be positionally aware, but definitely gonna see a flop with nines. I'm gonna raise this flop and hopefully get it in. I don't want this guy calling from behind, so just gonna raise it up. We do have top pair gut shot. We can go up against at least like an ace king, ace queen if Rogerio decides to go crazy with it. And he shoves. Getting 3-1 on a call roughly. I think I'll just fold.